All right,
We're live.
we're live. Welcome everybody. Uh,
Damn. First official VL podcast.
yeah, right, exactly.
Honored to be the first guest,
All
even
right,
though
yeah,
I practically
welcome.
begged you.
No, it's not like that, guys. It's not like that.
Ninja Bruce.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I feel like you should switch your username to Ninja Bruce from VL. Or make like another
I should just
burner.
put that in the signature of every tweet. The little ninja
Honestly.
sign. That would be funny.
Dude, it's so
Yeah,
funny because I've been following Pivot for like 4 years or three
yeah,
years. So
yeah,
it's just crazy that you guys were like connected because I've
yeah.
been following him forever.
Yeah, me too. We only just met maybe 3 or 4 months ago. Just
I
kind of
don't even
happened
think
real fast.
I don't even think I found you through him, which is I guess Finchway is kind of just a small place.
Yeah,
But me and my boys are like we just watch his videos and just love it because he's just like to the tick.
yeah.
It's
He does
just
a good
so
job with
it's
them.
just
I like
so
him
good
too.
and
He's
he's just
animated.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he finally launched his forum, and it's going really well for him. So I'm glad to be a part of it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
He's
awesome.
had it closed down for a long time.
Yeah,
Uh, all right, so we got some stuff today. We got a lot of prints came in. We had a big sell. We got a lot to talk about,
dude,
and
the
yeah, the
banks,
banks melted down.
the
KRE.
Silicon Valley Bank, dude, this is honestly I was in the sauna earlier at my gym
Uh
and like dude, I walk in and two dudes are talking about the market. And I just knew. I was like, oh, it was a
huh.
bad day. It
Yep.
was a bad day.
How
Like,
it usually works.
this guy was talking about taking his money out of the bank. He's like, there's going to be a bank run. And I was like, dude, maybe, man. Like,
Uh, I don't know. What are you gonna do
maybe,
though?
like,
Put it in your
I got
pillowcase?
shorts. So, like, hopefully, like, go take your money out, bro.
Well, yes, we had KRE, we had everything sold, and we got a couple big prints in China and IBM we could talk about. We can just go through and see what we see and just kind of wing it.
Go through
But
the list.
yeah, so you were excited to talk about China. Would you like the floor? Or do you want me to give you my side first? I have this thing up.
I would honestly like to hear your opinion on, like,
All right.
the market and everything that you think, like, maybe what the next few months are going to pertain. Maybe that's not your thing, but I kind of want to hear yours and I'll lay out mine.
I'm really bad at macro, but I will say that I think that this is, I think I've been steadfastly speaking with a bearish tone for anyone who's paying attention. I think most people have picked up on that.
For sure, dude. For sure.
And I do tend to seek out the overbought
Yeah.
stuff that can be shorted or the large prints near highs or some variant of a stock that has gotten a little ahead of itself.
Of course.
I do think that things are,
Great.
yeah, I think things are going to resolve lower. I don't think we're done yet. I think that, I think about two things. I think about monetary policy, which, and this isn't my area of expertise, but I'm smart enough to understand that when they raise rates and tighten, that it puts a lot of pressure on stocks and risk assets, and that we're recently at all-time highs, a year ago or so. So I don't think that it's or reasonable to assume or expect stocks to continue forward and march to all-time highs in the absence of some kind of monetary policy change. So I don't know if that means pivot or something else or more or QE or whatever, but I think it took an enormous amount of money and stimulus to get stocks where they were with that big tailwind over the last 12 or 13 years, plus all the COVID money. And if you take that away and then you also raise rates, I think it just becomes exceedingly difficult to march forward. I don't think it's an environment that's conducive to long-term rallies and that sort of thing. So my general stance is bearish in the absence of some kind of policy change, whatever that may be. And, if we get it and when we get it, then I'll reevaluate. But I don't think that it makes sense right now to be overly bullish, even though sometimes some of the charts present technical setups that may look bullish. It just, I don't know. For me, it doesn't work. But that doesn't mean that we won't get rallies from time to time and we won't get all, 100, 200, 300 point moves. bear market rallies and whatever, but I just tend to think that they will continue to resolve lower until inflation and rates and all that other stuff we always hear about becomes moderated in some way. How about you?
I think like naturally, I always just tend to lean bearish. I think just
Yeah.
probably too much like movie propaganda or some shit. Like, I grew up like right after like '09. It was like my childhood.
Yeah.
You just hear it from everybody.
Yeah.
And then for a while it was like don't fight the Fed was just like the narrative. And they were right. And then they were right and they were right and they were right. And then
now I tend to think the same works in reverse,
Yes, it's the exact opposite now. So I don't think the thing is though, I'm not really bearish like the overall market. I'm bearish like tech and the overweighted industries.
Yeah.
Like I would find it hard to be bearish like everything when you just look at the charts and they're just going up and to the right. So it's like my goal is just to make money. So like I'm just trying to figure out what's going up and to the right and what's going down, and try not to like have an overall view like, oh, I'm bearish. I'm definitely not waiting for some event. Like I'm not just like hoping that there's just limit down days and it's like, oh, thank God I was in cash, just thank God I was short, because the odds of just timing the limit down days are fucking impossible.
You'll never time them right.
They don't happen, and you'll be long somehow. Like it's just a disaster. Like it's just, so my goal is just look to see where I can find bull markets and take stabs, and like I try not to be so like binary one way or the other.
And I also think about the fact that everything, and I've talked about this in other circles, but every ETF, in almost every ETF, maybe not all of them, but almost every ETF is anchored by the same stocks. They're all, whether they're tech or whether they're broad indexes or whether they're focused in some like ESG or some other subset of stocks, they always have Apple at the top and Microsoft at the top and Amazon at the top. They're always anchoring everything. So I think that given they are growth stocks and we're not in a growth environment, that those things should fall. I think everything they're attached to is likely going to suffer as well. So I think that in order for some of these things to become more bullish or less bearish, they have to reweight them with tickers that are not going to be weighing them down. I don't know where they're going to find those, but
I mean, fucking there's oil stocks in QQQ now. Like it's like the top oil.
Yeah. Pepsi's in QQQ. Why? I don't know why Pepsi's in the top 10 of QQQ. It's Amazon, Tesla, everything else, and then Pepsi. I don't get it. This is bizarre, but whatever.
It honestly doesn't really make sense, but it's fine. It is what it is. You got to keep the indices up somehow.
Yeah, but I also think, I mean, institutions aren't stupid. They're going to find a way to hide into something. They've hidden in energy stocks for the last 3 years, and there will be something else. I don't think the energy trade is. I think the energy trade is practically over, but there's going to be some other sector, and I don't know if healthcare or who knows. They'll figure it out, but it will be the place that money is hidden while tech and other things fall. So there's so many institutions that are forced to be invested. They have to have their money in the market, so they'll find a place to put it that's reasonably safe.
Yeah, I mean, you just go to where the money's flowing, and as well as just like now that multiples are compressed and we have to look more towards the next 5 years, not the next 20 years. Like there's just a lot of attractive options that you wouldn't think to look at, because like Exxon, for example, like it's so much more attractive when rates are at 5%, because you're trying to squeeze this yield out like on a year-to-year basis. Like whereas
that's interesting.
You wouldn't look at Apple, like you wouldn't look at Amazon. Like I don't want to wait 10 years when the 5 years yielding 5. But if Exxon has like a 6% dividend, it's like I'm gonna hide in Exxon.
Yeah, you will probably see a lot more dividend payers become attractive.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like my biggest like my favorite long is like Verizon and AT&T right now. Like for the next like 2 years. Like if I had to choose one, it would probably be AT&T. Like communication stocks are like the most beat up.
That's interesting.
Like AT&T's down like a fuck ton, and and not you don't just buy it because it's down, but they paid down a lot of their debt, and now they only deal like now they are only doing exactly what they do. All their whole goal is to pay down debt and
Uh-huh.
to be as efficient as possible. Like before they were in like HBO, they were burning cash like left and right. They had direct
Right.
TV, and now they've
Right.
just broken it down and it's just AT&T, and like they're such stable earnings in like in an unstable environment. I'm surprised it's not like at least like 20% higher like already.
Well,
But
maybe that'll happen. We'll have to watch the prints and see what we see. Um,
yeah, we'll see.
I don't
We'll
remember
see.
seeing anything recently, but I also don't probably look closely at that stuff.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
it's a boomer stock, but
yeah, yeah, right.
it's
Yeah, what are you
the
doing in
boomer
it?
stock. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So okay. Let's talk about China. Since I've
Let's
had
talk
up on my
about it.
screen here for a little while. I know you are
Talk about
excited
it.
about China, and I put this together for someone today, and so I just figured I'd share it.
Yeah,
But up here in the pink box, we have all those really large prints, and this is showing the top 10 over the last, I think, since in 2023. So the top 10 trades. This big one here is number two, or maybe it's this one. One of these two is the second largest. And there's some other ones, and you, of course, know this because you've been watching it religiously. So this is
yeah.
obviously where they spent a lot of time distributing, and we all remember how it took them like a month or longer
Dude,
to
I
finally
think we
break
were
it down.
both in Yang for a while, and it was just so stubborn. Like
Yeah, it really
I got
wouldn't
fucked
move.
up in that. And I remember being short like at the top and thinking like, man, like, am I really trying to short China into reopening? Like,
I know.
how did
It
I get
fucks with
myself
the
in this
narrative.
position? Yeah,
And this is
yeah.
what's interesting because you hear the narrative, right? And it messes with you. You start thinking, is everything they're saying true? Am I wrong? Am I crazy? And then
Mm-hmm.
you see the prints show up and the data suggests to you something different. And that's where I think there's a lot of value here because they're not going to put the second largest trade in the history of this ETF that's been around for, I don't know, 20 years, however long. Um, right here, after it already rallied, and what you can't see in this picture is that it rallied from much lower, but when it got to this point, it just seems like an unusual spot to go,
Yeah, to go
all
long.
in on something.
Those prints were disgusting too. Like I remember
Yeah.
I saw the print today and it was like 3 million shares and those were like 16 or something.
Yeah,
And I was
we
like,
got
oh my God.
16 down here and then 11, um, another 8. Yeah, there's just a bunch. It was just a ton of inventory that was coming out up here. So it was weird. I was scared to go short. I remember being scared to go short, but also there's no way in the world I would have gone long. It was really confusing, especially in this zone here where kind of it still raised up here for a while after like threatening to break down and then it staged another rally. And I thought, I don't know what's going on here. And with
Yeah.
China, I mean, who the heck knows? I don't know. And I don't know if it's the same, but anyway, so it ultimately did resolve down. We got
Yep.
distribution. You see up here in the vol profile on the right, you can see that they spend a lot of time between 31 and 33 over the course of a month, roughly. And then it broke down. And we've been in this descent. And ever since it broke down, I've been watching for prints. You've probably been watching too to see when they're gonna backstop it and send it back up for the next leg.
Yeah.
So today we got something that's worth noticing. We got 8 million shares at the low after a big sell.
Yeah,
It
nice
looks
big guy.
promising. Yeah, it's
That was a nice
I can't remember what it was ranked, but it was in the top 100. Maybe
I think it
30
was
or
like
40.
37 or something.
37. Okay, so big enough to really matter.
Well, I texted you during the day and I said that fucking print is coming.
You did.
I do this thing now where like I try to beat your prints by like a few days. Or at least if in the day of I give myself a pat on the back. I'm like, there it is. But
something I tell people all the time is that you can in some ways anticipate when these are going to arrive. You just start after you watch it long enough, you start to know there's a really good chance they're gonna do something here today.
Yeah.
And they did today. So
I feel
here's
like
my hesitation.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I have a little bit of hesitation.
Okay.
I've been watching China and emerging markets for fucking ever.
Yeah.
Waiting for the elusive move that doesn't seem to come. It's like silver. It just isn't going to happen, right?
Silver.
For I don't know how many years I've been hearing about them becoming breakout in silver, and here we are again. Yesterday it dumped again, so I don't know. But anyway, I've got this green area circled down here where I haven't seen enough volume come in. One of the things I like to do is look for volume at a low to be similar in size to the volume at the high. And we don't have that yet. We may have the beginnings of that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then a couple other things I noticed is that this print right here, which I can't really mark on it. This second print here to me was a sell after that big overnight 5% pop.
Dude,
And, yeah. So if they sold here and it resolved back lower again, that to me is it reminds me of nat gas. We'd get a little bump, we get a big trade, everyone get excited, and then it would just dump right after. So this to me is not a buy. This is a sell. And
interesting. Okay.
And then this I think is a cover after this little leg down. And I think today was a cover as well. And that doesn't mean that there wasn't more to come. The pattern that I usually notice is that after a big sell, which we had today from 30 to 27, not just today, I guess over the last few days, they cover first and then they buy after that. So today, I think it's certainly possible it could be a buy. I don't know, but the pattern is that there'd be some covering. And then if it is buying, I would expect to see some kind of like accumulation phase. And give me 1 second here. I'll show another thing. If you remember SPY back in December, so we got that period of time for like 2 weeks where it just chopped and accumulated. And I didn't show the prints on this screen. It's just got the price action. But this area here was an accumulation zone. So, and then of course eventually took off. And I was thinking that if this is the beginning of accumulation, that there would be time to get in a long position if you wanted one after, I don't know, a couple days, maybe longer. Maybe there'll be a bounce and a retest from above. I'm not sure how it might work, but I am interested, but I'm not ready to trade yet on the long side anyway. Tell me your thoughts though. This is just my thinking.
Yeah. So I'm looking more at the dollar, and I feel like the dollar put in a relative top.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it broke down today on like what should have been a day where the dollar just like completely ripped.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Which is weird, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and my thing with the dollar is that like I've been saying this for like a year now, maybe less, and like I've gotten a lot of kickback on Finchwit, but the dollar and oil are tracking each other like 1-to-1, but the dollar is just like a month off of oil.
Interesting.
So we had that huge spike on oil to 130 or whatever it was, and then the dollar spiked about a month later, or maybe like 2 months later. It spiked all the way to the highs, and now we've had oil fizzle out down to like, I don't know what's that now, like 74 or something.
75.38 right now. Yeah.
Yeah, 75.38, and now it looks like the dollar is about to break down and kind of follow the same path. And if the dollar breaks down here, China is gonna go fucking nuts. Like China is gonna go absolutely nuts. As will all emerging markets. And the weird thing is that like if you look at other emerging markets, like a lot of them are breaking out already. Like they're in full breakout. A lot of honestly, a ton of other markets are just on the way up, except the U.S. because we're lagging. Because we're majority tech.
Didn't India already finish a correction, and China, of course, did?
Yeah, India's been lagging.
Did. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm feel comfortable. I have mostly shares. I bought some calls today, but I have basically just a shit ton of shares. And I'm just gonna wait, and I'm ready. I mean, they're fully reopened. Like the airports are packed. Like I mean, you don't need to hear like the bullish narrative that everyone knows about like reopening,
right?
But it just the price action doesn't make sense. And with their earnings, like their earnings were great. Like they upped their buyback. Like they have 80 billion of cash. They're at 220 billion market cap. Like it's just a ridiculously cheap name that's being discounted because of like political risk. And like we're not gonna ban China. Like we're not gonna hit them hard enough where they want to like revolt. Like what happens if we fight back against China? Like they're gonna take the iOS store out of China, and then what does that look like for our economy? It's like they can hit us back just as hard. So I feel like that narrative is kind of overblown, and I think they're using this to just accumulate. And I think Bob is gonna like double in the next year probably. Like it's just too cheap. It's too cheap.
All right. Well, I rely heavily on the prints, so I want to see if they hold price in a zone and continue to accumulate. That would be an
Yeah,
encouraging sign. That would get me more interested.
yeah. Also,
Um,
but also on top of that, bond yields went down today, and the dollar dropped, and tech
mm,
sold off, which is weird because like the dollar dropping should like risk should kind of come back on, but I think it's because we're entering a new stage of a rotation. Like I don't think
mm,
the next like leaders is not it's not going to be Nasdaq ripping fucking 12% in like a month. Like this
right.
it's going to be something else. And like I think one of the best bets is emerging markets. Like you might even if you want to get fancy, you could look at gold and silver. It's like
Yeah.
I don't want to do that because they game that, and like I just would be so mad if I miss a run and I'm in gold or some shit.
Right.
But
Right.
that's kind
You
of
can be in
not
more than one thing. You don't have to
yeah,
put them all on
you
spot.
can be one thing.
That is allowed.
I'm in a few different things, but if I had to just choose one, I'm like, okay, like I'd rather be in China than fucking silver. But
Right.
honestly, silver is probably gonna it's probably gonna be a great play.
We shall see. We shall
Yeah, we
see.
shall see. But I'm pretty like bullish in the short term. Like I feel like and these rotations like they're finding their ways into like really like and undervalued sectors that haven't gotten the love in a long time.
While you're talking, I'm going to pull up EEM and see if I can see anything
Let's see
worthwhile
it.
here. We
Nothing.
got, well, that was a top 100 rank. Let's see. I'm sure we got something today. Probably. Oh, I've got it set. I got all my settings wrong. Did I do it wrong again? Here we go. Okay, so we got a little bit. This isn't anything that really knocks my socks off yet, but let's see when we pull up. I'll look at the levels real quick.
Look at that. That's all
Um,
right. Is that just today? Yeah.
yeah, it's just today. So let's look at it over 2023. See what we see. It's gonna take a minute to load this because it's a little bit longer chart. Okay. Well, we got a level down here. What is this? 38.30. Oh, we're just barely under that. Hmm. Interesting, interesting. What happens if we go back a little further? Oh, I hit the wrong year. Oh, look at that. Well, well, well.
Yeah.
We got a little support zone down here from December.
There we
So
go.
that chart of SPY I was showing earlier, when SPY was doing this,
Yeah.
EM was doing this, same time frame, and now it's come full circle. Whereas SPY, well, it's not showing this chart, but SPY lost that zone and some today. So, all right, so I need to take a little closer look at this. We did still haven't had any really large prints. All three of these top three are above price, which I don't like to see, but well, let me see. But the levels, let's see how much is this one? 976 million. So 38, 3780, 3790. Oh, we're just above. Okay, so we're coming down to tap that. Oh, that's really interesting. And look at all this volume here. I need to think about this because so now what I want to do is now that I've seen EM and we just talked about China, I want to look at Brazil and India, and some of the other
Dude,
large countries.
they're all sweet, dude. I'm sure. I just chose China because
Well, even if whether you're bullish or bearish, this is a good place to define risk, right? Because you've got a really strong level here. If it breaks below it, you know that it's lost. You can cut out or you can short it. And if it stays above it, then you know it's a good support level to take along against.
yeah.
So there's
This
that.
this is also just such a good place like to rotate. If you're
Yeah, I've
like
wondered about
everyone's
that.
scared right now. Everyone's selling. Like this today, in my opinion, was the beginning of the rotation.
Hmm. Well, we will see if you are proven correct or not. We'll come back and talk about this in 6 months and see what's changed.
Yeah.
Maybe it won't even take that long. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that. So forever, and I mean forever, EM has been in this horrible range. Well, I mean, U.S. stocks have gone to enormous highs, and EM has stayed relatively. I don't want to say flat, not flat, but it muted. I would say it doesn't move like SPY and QQQ by any stretch. but when things are bad, like during COVID, it tanks just as hard as the U.S. indexes. Um, I've wondered what it would take to get them to finally go. And maybe you're right. Maybe it just has to be a rotation out of U.S. dominance. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like
Any idea?
I think I feel like price action so far has like made sense. Like if you're trying to chase yield, like you're
Hmm.
definitely not gonna be able to do it in the US in tech. So
Yeah,
you can
that I agree with.
you can buy like a risk free bond at 5%, which is like that's the yield you're gonna chase. But you're obviously not gonna get that in a ton of US indices. So like where else are you gonna look? You're gonna go to an economy that's growing, which is China. Like they just came out and said they're gonna grow 5% this year. So
Yeah, I mean, they say
it's
whatever
like
they say, but
yeah, they say whatever they say, but honestly, I think they're underselling it. Like I could see them growing more. Like they just reopened after like 3 years or whatever the fuck. Like
yeah,
they were locked in. Now everyone's opening their borders. I feel like this rotation is gonna end up like we're all gonna be like, why didn't I buy
yeah.
more?
Why didn't
Like
I
this is
know? Why didn't I
so
look?
like. But we'll see. We'll see. I
Let's
mean, I get
do
like
this. Since we're
hyper
here,
fixated.
we can always edit this out later, but let's look at Brazil, see if it's showing us anything. Now, I saw India printed today, but I didn't go in and look at it very closely anyway. All right, so we got a level down here that's held. It's still hanging around above,
Yeah.
and there's a high volume here. I want to see. I don't know this well enough to know how it's done since our economy's been correcting. Let's see. Oof, wow, look at that.
That's a lot of
The
prints.
low, the low, the low. This 26 level is really important.
I mean,
Wow.
that looks exactly like the spy chart you just showed me 5 minutes ago.
I have to look at this a lot more closely when we're done with this. That's
Yeah, let's
interesting.
see. Can you pull up GOD? Maybe not GOD. Maybe pull up like GDX or something.
Yeah, we could do GDX. Man,
GDX, GXJ maybe.
if
Oh,
metals and emerging
see.
markets run together, that would be hysterical. All right.
I mean, they those two are like highly correlated in terms of what it takes
Well,
to run.
so
Just a falling
GDX is,
dollar.
yeah, well, that's interesting. Yeah. There aren't any ranked prints. This is bothering me. I want to know if, like, it's been ages. Let me pull up all of 2021 and 2022. Or I'm sorry, all of 2022 and 3, and I'm going to do anything that's ranked only. Let's see what we get. I want to know when they've really been hitting it hard. Oh my gosh, nothing. They just don't care about. Okay, let's go back further. Now I'm just curious. They probably had to hit it at some point during COVID. I'm doing this right. No, it's going to take a minute. I'm looking over at ES futures while we talk, and it looks like we may have just got it spiked down and hit 38.92, and it's now rebounding. Oh man, look at that. They traded the shit out of GDX during COVID crash,
Get
and
rid
then
of
they
it.
haven't really touched it since. Wow, I didn't know this. This is so interesting.
As we're talking, the Hang Seng is down 0.8,
Yeah,
but we'll see.
we will see.
We'll
Okay,
see.
so there's some levels here. GDX bounced here, this 23.75 level. I don't know.
Gold. I mean, gold is just difficult, and there's also like a lot of like. There's just a lot of different ways you could play it. I feel like I just wouldn't play gold because it's just too like
Well, what about silver? We talked about silver. We got that
strong.
huge print last week, which I was excited to see, and then
Yeah,
it gave way. Let's change the range on this to 2023 only. I think it was ranked to the number 12 or number 22 somewhere. It was pretty high. This guy here. So I was thinking that was a buy. I guess it turned out to be a buy. Did get a little bit of a bump. Maybe that was a short cover. We got a little something, but it didn't last. And we haven't seen anything come in yet. I would imagine silver and gold would move together in
for
some
sure.
capacity.
Yeah.
And look at all this distribution up here.
Yeah.
For a month, it just sat here and sold. This had to be a cover. This had to be a cover. If this stays flat for a little while, we might be able to get a buy in here. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah. And my thing is basically just if the dollar's falling, like metals are a go, and you
Yeah.
should feel good buying it if they are. I mean, but
Yeah.
you
When they
never
go, they're gonna
never
go. They're
know.
gonna just blow everyone away at some point when they finally
You
do
think
take
so?
off. I don't think they're gonna. I think they're just gonna move fast. I think that whatever it is that propels it will be panicky or scary in nature. It'll be the sudden desire for gold, and it'll just
I feel
or
like
silver again.
I read something that like miners are having a hard time producing now because of just
Huh?
they're
Why is
just
that?
all their productions are down. I guess just from whatever, just natural like just I guess harder to produce over the years.
Huh?
So maybe that could be a catalyst. Like there's just way less production. I don't know. I mean, you could also talk about like if the debt ceiling doesn't get raised, like people are going to be flock out of bonds and
Oh
stocks,
yeah.
and they're going to go to gold.
Maybe that's what
There's
gets people into EM. Hmm.
yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a ton of like reasons to buy gold. It just never seems to like break out. But on a long term chart, it's up and to the right. Looks good.
Yeah.
Like
Up and to the right,
up and to the right. I
back
mean,
and to the left.
yeah. It's just your time frame, I guess. Like, I want to own gold or treasuries over the next year? I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
it's
ask
close.
me after June. I'll answer that
Yeah,
question after
yeah.
June. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so what else is on the docket? IBM came in. You want to talk about that one?
I'm down.
Let's see
I
if I can
don't
find it.
I don't know much about. I haven't done any like deep dives on IBM. I don't know like anything about their business besides that they're
I
like
did
a
a little
boomer.
bit. I mean, this is very specific area, unlike gold and emerging markets and all that stuff we were talking about. I
Mm-hmm.
only noticed it because it came in on the scanner today as a oversold name. Actually, maybe just show the scanner. I'm gonna find it though. Which one of these windows do I have it on? I'll just do this. I did, as I always do at the end of the day, I look for top ranked trades that were um, oversold or overbought. So I do this, and I click go, and it gives me a bunch of stocks, and then I go do my research and see if any of them look attractive for whatever reason. And I saw Bitto, which I don't care how oversold it gets, I don't want to touch it. But China stood out like we talked about, and then I saw IBM here. So I pulled up IBM, and I ended up with this. And this trade here is, I just pull it up. I can do this interactively. The largest trade since December 16th, so it's reasonably rare. It's 32 times larger than average. All the same stuff you hear me blab on about on Twitter all the time. It's ranked 93rd. So this is a, decent reputable company. It's liquid, something I might be interested in trading options with. Um, so we pull it up, it shows the three largest trades, and one of them is right here at the low, and it's a dark pool trade. And I always feel just a little bit more comfortable trading against dark pool prints as opposed to lit exchange prints. And the reason for that is because this tells me it's definitely institutional, whereas a closed print is a sort of an amalgamation of anybody who wants to trade the close. It's largely institutions, but it could be a lot of retail volume too. You just can't tell. So I like this a little bit more. This tells me somebody is probably buying,
Yeah.
or at minimum covering. But anyhow, so I'm going to look into this tomorrow. I might trade it. We'll see how things shake out in the morning. But let's see if we go back further, just to
They're
see what's
they're
going
like
on
really
here.
big. I know they're like a leader in quantum computing. I remember
Mhm.
reading that a while ago, but apparently they have their foot in the AI game. So maybe some AI news will drop or something.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? And maybe this is one of those names that's safe for whatever reason we were talking about earlier. Okay, look at this. So the last time we got a big dark pool print, look at that. We got a
A nice
40
rip.
point rally. Geez. And now it's come
Yeah.
back correctively. It looks, and it's sitting here at a level that has traded in the past. So what dates are here? April 14th, September 13th, September 16th. So two OPEC states. It closed right on a level of two previous OPEC states, which suggests to me that's important. And then a bunch of volume came in. I don't know. I kind
It
of like
looks
this.
good. It's just
Yeah.
like, do I want to own IBM in this environment? I mean, I guess honestly,
I
it's
don't know.
a value tech stock. I just would be fucking angry at myself if I lost money on it.
Yeah. Well,
Like
there's a
buying
few
gold
different
and
things you
silver.
could do. I mean, you could do a cover calls or something like that and
Yeah, yeah.
mitigate the risk a little bit. Or
Mhm.
I don't know, a straddle play. I don't know. I think it looks pretty, well, it's certainly oversold on the time frame that volume leaders told us, which was hourly. So, reasonably short term. I want to look at it again at daily and weekly levels and get a better feel for it and see if it's actually something I want to dip my toe in. But
Yeah,
this, tells us where the candidates are. This tells us where we can look and do our research. And so this is something I am interested in at some level, and we'll see where it goes.
you gotta stamp it. You gotta stamp your approval on it. So next time we have some ammo, some talking points about who was wrong, who was right.
See, I hate to say, everybody go out and buy it because, well, I can't, first of all, and I don't want
Yeah,
to
you gotta
bad
do the
advice.
whole. I'm not a financial advisor spiel.
Yeah, I'm not. Nobody here is. I think I can't tell you right now. I need to do a little more research, but it's something that is interesting to me. I want to look at a number of things, including the spreads on the option chain and our earnings coming up and various other things before I make a decision. So all I can say right now is it looks like something worth investigating. Then we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see.
It's on the watch
touch it. I'm not gonna touch it just because like it goes against my ideas of what I think's coming.
Yeah.
But I'll
That's
probably
okay. And again, understand my time frame is like a day or two. If I do it,
yeah.
I'm not gonna get married to this thing. I'm not gonna go balls deep in my 401k or anything. I'm just gonna trade it, try and scrape a few $100 out of it and move on to the next thing.
Yeah, mine's like 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah.
I just sold a little bit of my my Boyle shares. I probably sold the rest of it. I'm looking to get back in though because I feel like we're heading higher. I still have my calls, my eights.
Yeah.
But man, I still like Natty. I think it's gonna go higher. I don't know. That was tough. I mean, it did really well. It squeezed.
Yeah.
Had the squeeze. But I feel like it's getting ready to leg up. Like now, no one's talking about it anymore.
Yeah. Well, and from my stance, there haven't been any real blocks. Why don't we do it? We'll pull it up. Let's look at it together and see what we can find.
Prints were huge and like
they were nuts for a little while, and it was exciting to watch. I was enjoying it.
It was. Europe's gonna have to refill soon. Like I feel like Natty at least has a 2.5 should be the floor, but I just would be surprised if it tests it down again.
I've seen some pretty bearish calls come out, and I won't claim to understand the fundamentals of it all. It's not really my bread and butter, but there are people who pay attention to this stuff that are suddenly talking about, gas and the 2s and 3s. And I don't know, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't see that far ahead. I barely can see what's going to happen in the next few hours, but I hate to make a projection like that. So gas. Okay. Oh, this is the whole thing. This is from 2022. So why don't we just look at the last month, or the last few days in March and see if there's anything. I'll do the same in Boyle here.
This is how I originally found you through Natty.
Oh, is it really? Oh, yeah. That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
I was shorting it.
Nobody believed. Everybody said, "Oh, nat gas is going to go to 15 or something," and I kept pounding the table. They
it was
are
like me
selling up here. Yeah, no one believed it.
And then the Freeport news came out that they were shutting down, and like
that was
I remember that was a week after the print came in.
Yeah, they always know ahead of time, and then the news comes out and accelerates the move that was already going to happen.
For sure.
Okay.
That narrative is similar to I think what's happening with the banks right now. What's going to happen is like people are going to get carried away with like this bank narrative, and it's going to be run on banks and this and that, and then it's going to be nothing. Like I thought Europe was supposed to freeze, and like everyone was supposed to be out of energy at this point, and now gas
is like a tenth of what it used to be.
Yeah.
So I'm struggling here with Zoom, so give me just 1 second. Okay, 10 large. Okay, so we got gas here, top 10 in March. There's nothing in the last 2 or 3 days, so they're not buying. And even the stuff that we had here is small. These three are sells. This is buying that Friday rally. Yeah, they really
That was
cranked it up
crazy.
there. God, that was nuts,
That's
right?
fucking nuts,
And
dude.
then look at the collapses from $10 down to 860 overnight. Yeah, that
That
was
was
a
a
big
nuts
that was a big
rally.
gap down. Yeah. So then we got some of this. This is probably covering down here, and now we're just kind of chopping and sort of drifting. There's no direction to this in my opinion. There's no conviction in either way. I don't know where it's headed, but I know that the blocks aren't big enough to catch my eye and make me act on it.
Mm-hmm.
Boyle, kind of the same thing. What was odd for me about Boyle is that we didn't see anything. Um, this little print here is nothing. I can't believe they pumped it all the way up here and there was no print, nothing of size anyway at that after that day. That was really surprising. We got a little bit today. This is really small. This is not really worth. It's not
Yeah.
tradable in my opinion.
I don't think they're done with it, but my position is not what it used to be, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then in cold, we have the inverse. We got a bunch of small stuff here. None of this, in my opinion, is meaningful. With that big gap up when we got the gap down in Boyle, and then not they haven't done anything for 3 days. Now tomorrow's Friday. They love to do something on Friday because they want to gap it on Sundays, both directions. So maybe we'll see something come in Friday afternoon. I'm on the lookout. That's one of my favorite Friday things to do. Is I sit at my desk, the prints come in, I watch them at between 4 and 4:30, and then I sit there and anticipate. We're gonna get the Boyle print. We're gonna get the gold print. We're gonna get it, and I refresh, and then wait for it to show up. And sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. But we'll see. Maybe we'll get something. The gas has kind of gone quiet there after it was. Gosh, it was really, really something there towards the bottom.
Dude, it went crazy though, man. That was the fucking.
Yeah.
That's all you can ask for on a run like that. Like we got in a little early, but then it's almost 100% in a month. Boyle.
Yeah, Boyle went from four to eight in
Yeah,
a week and a half, something like that.
that was
This
insane.
Yeah, this is what's really unusual about Boyle is these two prints came here. This is awfully early. They could have come here. They could have come here. This tells me they were done. This was that intraday move we got down. So I said, oh, we're going to get a pullback, and then we got that sharp pullback, and then it shot right back up in the same day. And I thought, wow, that was fast. I mean, it was like down 9%, but by the time I sent the tweet out, it was already green again. I couldn't believe
I
it.
know. I remember texting you like sometimes you just gotta hope and pray and
Yeah.
it'll squeeze, and then it went up
And then
15%.
it squeezed. And if this was, where they exit with size, this is the one nominal new high. This is a really big move. 6 to 8 that's a 33% move. That's not nominal in my opinion. So this is unusual. That was very unusual. But yeah, so we're down here we're at 542. So we're $1 off the lows, dollar and change off the lows. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know. If we don't see some prints come in, they're just gonna let it fall, I guess.
Nah, it's floor. It's going high.
You think so?
Like production's falling off, and Europe's going to need gas soon, and they're going to be talking about the hot summer. Like they'll squeeze it when the builds are coming. Like when it looks the most
squeezed it last summer.
Yeah, like before. I think they're going to squeeze it before summer and into summer because they're going to start refilling soon, and they don't have the same supply from Russia. So it's just I don't know. I think the floor is here. Like I would feel comfortable buying. Like you could just buy like UNG and write covered calls and just print like I just don't like what are they going to take it down to 199 again and then what? How are they going to refill?
I don't know. The mechanics of it all are beyond me. I don't know how it works. I'm just a geek with some data here, but this is what happened. I just brought up the chart for 2022 to see if there would be a repeatable pattern. If maybe so, it looks like it kind of
2022 was rare because they knew like hedge funds knew that Europe like had to fill the storage, like they had a mandate, like you had to fill it to 80%. So
Hmm.
they were front running like countries buying natural gas, and it was, I mean, that's why it fell off a cliff so hard. Like,
Because demand just disappeared, huh?
yeah, they were full, so they like just couldn't. They just the bids just stopped. But I think we're gonna run into like a similar situation, but it's gonna be like a baby version of that. Like I could see them taking it to 5 or 4 or 5.
I
But
remember hearing five a lot in the, prior to the low. Um,
yeah,
now I'm hearing the reverse. And maybe it's just a matter of people just talking about what's happening in front of them. If gas is going down, they think it's going to go
yeah. I mean,
really low. I
I'm
don't
not
know.
gonna sit here and be like it's going to 4.8. Like I have no idea. I feel like the pressure is up at this point,
Hmm.
and I like that's I don't know. I would definitely wouldn't short it. I know that.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing anything unless I see prints. I feel uncomfortable with trying to navigate this without some sort of institutional conviction to
You
suggest
gotta just
what's
go.
what's
You
going
gotta
to
go in raw sometimes, man.
happen. Well, that's not my
You
style.
know, let the prince come to you, man. Like just just jump
Well,
in,
this
have a
is
little
where
fun.
Pivot King's methodology is helpful. If you don't have the prints, you can perhaps still get a feel for what you might expect to happen. I don't know.
Oh, with his like levels.
Yeah, the way that he produces his levels, they don't rely on the blocks, but of course, having them there is a great
Yes,
complement to that methodology. But
for sure.
or any methodology, I would say anybody. I'm do my little sales pitch here. I would say anybody who's got a methodology, I think um, it's important to know, are institutions at your back, or are they getting in your way? So
No,
knowing
exactly.
where they're yeah, like knowing where and how they're positioned, I think can tell you if your analysis is sound or if you've missed something. Or a lot of times you think you see something and then the prints aren't there and you realize I didn't see it, or the prints are there but not where you expect them to be, and you realize you're about to fight a battle you're not going to win. So
I feel like your site for me is like my last like like I have my process and it revolves around like it's a lot of macro and then it's
hmm
a lot of it's like a little bit of chart, not much TA. Like I look at a daily chart and I just
right,
like if it's overbought as shit or oversold as shit, whatever. And then I look at the prints to see if the prints match up with like what I think is gonna happen
right.
versus like what the TA is saying. And then also like just the chatter around FinTwit of like what other people are saying. Like I weigh everything and then I basically like come to a conclusion on an idea
hmm
and I try to take the best like risk reward like process, I guess. I don't
Yeah,
know. But plays kind
yeah.
of just I feel like plays just kind of form. Like you don't even know why you like something and then you're just like in a new one. And then it's just like
hmm
the next one and it's like it's just a constant like ebb and flow. It's just amazing. I love the way it happens. I like I
Yeah.
couldn't explain it to anyone that doesn't trade because they just like wouldn't they you wouldn't understand like how beautiful it is. It's like doing a dance and like
I think it's like solving a puzzle. I
yeah,
see all this like bits and pieces of information are solving a crime, and you've got to kind of put the story together in your head based on
100%. And it's so deceptive, you know. It's like
yeah.
today, like we have literally like banks going bankrupt, and like we're having like people think there might be like a crash coming, but then under the surface, there's other moves that are happening. So it's like I try to like be ahead of
hmm
like I don't know. I think it's just difficult. It's really hard, and like and by the time you think the move is ready, it's already over, and like
Yeah.
you're like, how did I miss that? That was so obvious. So it's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
constantly just like fine tuning your own process. Like you can't just copy somebody else and make money because it'll never work.
No,
You'll just be
you
behind.
can't. We've
Yeah.
all learned that lesson. You can't follow somebody else's thought
No, you'll
process.
get
You
killed.
have to,
You'll get
yeah.
killed.
You can't just wait for someone to tell you when to click the button. You have to get a
You
feel for it. Your
yeah, and
own
you have to have an
style.
idea of like of like the macro. Like people like will hit me up and like they're buying like like crazy tech stocks or like they're buying memers like at the high. And I'm like, what are you doing?
You shouldn't buy them
bond yields.
anywhere, pretty much.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't buy them anywhere. But if you're gonna buy them, like you should buy them when shorts are like squeezing.
Yeah.
Like you don't want
Yeah.
to do it at the top when yields are breaking up. Like that's the worst time. Like you want to do it
Yeah.
on the inverse. But I feel like people just I don't know if there's no macro sense or like or what, but It's definitely a
Uh,
psychological game too. You get
yeah.
capitulated and you get in your head. Like Natty tested me, man. Like
I think it tested all of us. I
that
certainly
trade was
tested me
wild,
too. But
dude. Stock S 2 weeks ago.
I, I can't imagine trying to trade something like gas without a tool that showed me what was kind of happening under the hood. It's
It's
so,
just gambling.
yeah, I couldn't. And long before I ever built this, I traded gas, and I looking back on it, I think what an idiot I was. I mean, I didn't have any true sense for what was going to happen. I
Yeah,
thought I did,
yeah.
um, but I mean, that said, even when the prints come in, you think you have a strong idea of what's going to happen. It still throws curveballs at you. It's
I mean,
still tough. This
yeah.
with gas in particular is abnormally difficult to trade, but
The Widowmaker for a reason,
sure is.
It's a killer.
But
I
yeah,
only trade it because I'm like sick, Like
you have a
I like the
disease.
pain and I love the upside. Yeah, I'm diseased, dude.
Hey, I
Like
hate money. Yeah.
dude, when it goes down, I'm like, and I'm long, I'm almost happy. I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm getting exactly like what I wanted out of this trade. Yeah,
you're a masochist.
yeah. It's like being short when like the market's just bleeding up and you're like, fuck, like I did it again. But when it
Yeah,
hits, man, it's like heroin, man. It's like
yeah.
you get that fix. But that's why you have to like that's why you just have to be careful.
You
Constantly
probably
check
should edit
yourself.
this part out of the whole.
I'm leaving this part in, bro.
Yeah.
I'm diseased.
Another session with a degenerate gambler here. Tune
Actually,
in at
though,
9. All right, what else do you want to look at? We
I
saw a lot of
think,
good stuff yesterday, but I mean that moment has passed. I don't know if it's worth going through it
yeah,
again, but
dude, yesterday feels like a whole different day than today. Like
I know.
it feels like something shifted. Something like
Yeah,
negative is in the air now.
yeah. I'm gonna pull it up unless you've got something else because I want to talk about a few of the trades that I made today, do a little self promotion, and talk about why I did them. And
Yeah.
strictly for educational purposes, not because I'm trying to like show off or anything. But I traded yesterday. I saw this one. I did the same scan, overbought top 100 ranked trades, and the only one came back was this ON was semiconductor. And as you and I have discussed many times, and I've discussed with others, semis are a real pain in the ass right now. So,
Dude, I saw your meme on that one. It fucking killed me.
which one was that? I can't remember.
The guy like jumping off the building or
Oh
something.
yeah, yeah.
Dude, my boy sent that to me and I just absolutely lost it.
I had written that
So
whole
funny.
novella just a couple days ago about how to interpret this information. When people often ask me, up or down, bro, is this bullish or bearish? Do you think they're buying or selling? And part of me is like, I've practically laid it out.
Yeah.
If it's overbought and it's been rallying for a fucking month, what do you think they did? Do you think they bought or do you think they sold? And I joke, but I think some people legitimately don't know. But I think there's some people that aren't trying. They just want someone to tell them that it's a buy so they can go get some calls, or it's a sell so they can buy some puts, and that's it. But
Yeah, that's the quickest way to get like fucked.
yeah. But this,
Honestly.
so this shows up. I see this. This is the only one that showed up yesterday. So, top 20, which is sufficiently high for me. I had never heard of this before. On Semiconductor Corporation, maybe it's more popular, and I'm out of the loop. But this little red bar tells me it's overbought on the hourly. So I wanted to look at it. So I pulled up the chart, and I'll pull up both chart for today or for yesterday and for the last month or so, which was the last time it traded this large as it did yesterday. And I saw this, which immediately confirms my suspicion. The trade came in at the high. It was overbought. Closed right up here, 1.5 million shares, and then we got a little bit more too. So that always helps. And then I see this, and this pretty much seals it for me. I see that it's been on a pretty sharp rally since, I don't know, 5 or 6 days ago. And it's gone from 72 to 84, and we got a big print. Whenever I see a pattern like this, big rally, big print, overbought, I almost don't have to look any further, but I do.
Are you still in this?
No, I got in this morning and I got out in the afternoon.
Bro, you are a fucking
I don't
motherfucker, dude.
I got in at It was right after
How
the
are you
open.
gonna? How do you look at this chart? You see these prints, and you're like, "Let me hold this for like the 8%, the 1% move that I'm gonna get out of it."
Because I can't
Don't you get
stand
the worst?
like it might have been a great entry, but you never know. Like you never know if it's just going to be a small uh pullback or if it's going to be one of those 20 percenters. But I don't. My style, and everybody has a different style. My style is not to. Um, I don't have the patience or the energy to get in his trade and wait a month. I can't stand it. I live and die with
Yeah.
every little squiggle. I hate to see my profit come down
You just
after.
don't. You got an outlook. Like I don't even think I
Yeah,
looked at my portfolio today because I didn't want to see it.
you didn't. Oh, I well, yeah. I've always got like 15 charts up at the same time and hyper focused on it.
Damn.
But anyway,
Dude, that's a great. Do you have a long term port?
say it again. I have what?
Do you have a long term portfolio?
I do, but I'm in cash now. I mean, I have my 401k, which I've got into cash back in January of 2022, and I've deployed it for like
Yeah.
a little bit of time here and there. I'll get in for a couple days and then I'll get out. I'm not comfortable right now with this whole thing. I don't. The last thing I want is to be bagged on one of those random limit down nights when you're not paying attention and you wake up the next morning and 5% is gone or something or worse. So
Yeah.
that's just me. But generally, no, I don't. It's not my style to just like pick a stock and say, oh, I'm going to hold this for a year or until it gets to some target, 20% of ad. Not my thing. It's
True.
I like to be flat at the end of the day if I can. It doesn't always work out that way, but
I see.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm like the opposite. I like to have like most of my cash deployed, and then like I like to kind of weed my way in and out of positions like over time. Like I have a Nvidia short that I don't even plan on.
Yeah.
Like I plan on just holding that. Yeah, I'll just keep letting it ride. I'm like I don't have price targets. Like maybe I'll take some off when it drops.
Yeah.
Like maybe it won't drop. You know, maybe it was up and down all week. And I watched it just kind of like bounce around. But it's like in my like eyes, it's like okay, like I think that tech is going to drop. So why would I sell until I believe that tech is kind of bullish again? But I guess it's just different strategies.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with it at all. And yours will probably pay out better than mine too. So,
I mean, unless you intraday scalp short. That's my thing is I don't want to like intraday short and then like get fucking squeezed on. And then I'm like,
that's the thing. Like, I mean, if I'm going to, I don't want to put on a short with shares and then wake up the next morning and the company got acquired and it's up my ass, it's 20% higher. Not every company is subject to that, but certainly that's something to think about. But, I have no problem with that strategy whatsoever. It just doesn't fit my personality. And we're all different. We gotta trade our styles. This is the way I do it. You gotta do it your way, and you will only be successful if you do it your way. If you tried to trade my way, you'd probably hate it and wouldn't do as well.
Dude, I'd probably, I don't know. Your day sounds so stressful. Like
I know. Well, you're probably at the gym just hanging out, and I'm sitting at my desk, taking cups of coffee, staring at all these charts. But
nah, I'm watching all day. I got the coffee going. I'm addicted to it, but like I also just like to let my shit ride. But also, I don't let it ride. My problem is I don't know how to like. Sometimes I struggle with holding through the move.
Mm-hmm.
But so you're on a tiny time. I'm on like a long time frame. Even I still feel like, man, I miss that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's weird. So yeah. So I did this just to like wrap this thing up. I took this, 5-10 minutes after the open, and actually what happened is it didn't gap up really, but it opened a little bit higher. So it's kind of a gift in a way because I got a better entry than I would have gotten if I traded yesterday, for example. So it doesn't always work this way, but sometimes you see these large prints up at highs and it marks the high, and other times it's close and then there's some overshoot and then it eventually comes back down.
The overshoot is crazy.
Yeah. So when you get the overshoot, I don't always, sometimes I'll use it as an opportunity to get a short entry at a better price. Like I got mine up here somewhere near 84. I don't remember the exact, but I would tell anybody else who's more conservative or more risk averse that not to bother entering unless and until price comes back below the level that the print arrived at. So that would mean,
Oh, I see.
somewhere down here where you're comfortable that this was a sell and whatever overshoot has played itself out, and then, enter down here. And even then, even if you entered it here like just under 83, you could still get it down to 81. Yeah,
You could probably create a whole strategy on the overshoot, because I swear the overshoot comes a ton. Like if you pull up, I feel like if you pull up the win, you're going to see an overshoot. Like,
oh yeah, Win. I took LBS the day before yesterday, which is a lot like Win, and
it's like exactly what just happened. It was like
Win was we talked about this about a week ago.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
I took it. You were already in it, and then I took it, and I did it for a day or 2 days max, and then it turned and headed back up, which was really surprising. I thought
it overshot, and now look.
Oh, yeah. Like this is the print number 13. I got a little bit of this piece, and this is another thing why I like the shorter time frames. I was happy. I got in somewhere here. I got out somewhere down here. I made a couple hundred bucks.
I'm down to 89% on my position right now. I'm holding it. I'm just pure pride. I'm just gonna let it ride, expire, worthless. I just let all my stuff just go.
Wow.
Like it's either gonna go worthless or it's gonna go up a fuck ton.
Wow.
Not always, obviously.
Well, I mean, you have your risk defined, and whatever the premium you paid. But this is the sort of a phenomenon that drives me nuts. Is you get a good print, you get a good entry, you get a little move, you're feeling fine. Then you let it hold overnight, and then it's up your ass the next day. And look at this. I don't know how this happened. This is unusual, but
this happened during, and I'm not sure how correlated it is, but Win has like a big division in China. So China had the pump like early last week.
Oh yeah, it did have that 5% move.
I think it got like a sympathy pump off it, but somehow it stayed up. I mean, I think this thing looks like it's gonna crater at any point in the next few weeks.
Yeah. Well, I guess it moved down a little bit today from 116 to 109. That's a good start. Oh, I don't even have the right day on here, actually. This doesn't include today's action, so I should pull that up.
That's over a longer time frame too, right? That's the
because I wanted to get that print in from a couple weeks back to show where it was. Why is this thing so slow today? What's going on?
You gotta update those servers, man.
I know. I'm running some stuff. Where's the window? Can't even find it now. There it is. I was running a job. I'm going to stop this job. Loading some data. Trying to get some data updated. That always interferes with this. What's taking so long? Come on, man. Okay. You know what? There's some other data I'm going to load up here. I was loading. I need to stop this process. Should have done this before the podcast.
We'll take it out in post.
Yeah, take it out in post, exactly. So here, okay, so look, so you get this big sell from 116 to 109, and look at this level. It comes right back to the same level that it was sitting at right before this print came in.
Yeah.
So if it gets under here, then this is next, and if it gets under here, then who knows where it goes from there? Probably to in the 102, 101 zone somewhere.
I'm gonna try that strategy now. I'm gonna wait for the overshoot, and that's when I'm gonna jump in.
Yeah. Now, okay. So here's the thing that's interesting. I've noticed a phenomenon. The thinner the stock is, the faster it reverses. So
that makes sense. Yeah.
BRKB. This is an example. I played this one yesterday or the day before.
Berkshire.
Yeah, Berkshire. It showed up on the scanner. Same thing I've been doing. This thing's really working out for me lately.
You shorted the big dog.
I did. You heard me.
You're taking Buffett down. Holy shit. I wouldn't short that out of respect for just the legend he is.
What is going on here? Why am I not seeing? Did I not click the button? What's going on? My own tool. I can't even do it right. What's going on? Maybe it wasn't overbought.
Damn.
I saw a print come in and it caught my eye. I can't remember exactly how I found it. I must not have found it the way I thought I did, but maybe I should just do it the simple way. BRKB.
What is the top holdings are Apple and like I know you buy the Oxy like every fucking week. It's a lot of
Maybe,
it's a lot of Apple and a lot of like Chevron. So I mean,
maybe it was the sixth. Doggone it, I can't figure out when I traded this thing. I know I did it this week though. Oh, because I got this wrong. Doggone it. If I wasn't stupid, this would be much easier. Okay, so it's overbought here. This is on the 6th, March 6th. So this was Monday. This came in at the close. It was the top 100, and it had been 3 months and since it traded this high. And here is it's overbought. And this is the thing, the tweet I put out that I mentioned where I wrote this long story about what might this trade mean. It can only be one of four things. Don't ask me what it is because you should know better, et cetera, et cetera. And and I looked. This one came in just like the others at the high.
that print is beautiful. That's like that should be your logo right there. If you pull it out like 2 weeks, it's a gorgeous print. Just right at the top, and then it just dumps.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see what it's done since. I only held it for a day, and I did what I usually do. I bought some puts. I held it from. Yeah, I didn't get the best entry actually. I was kind of annoyed. It's so thin. The spreads were so wide on these options that I almost didn't do it.
Oh, I see.
But I
You
did. I
should pull the chart out of the month. It looks a lot better.
pull it the whole month.
Yeah, like do February 1st or something.
Oh, February
You'll
1st.
just,
Okay.
you'll just see like perfectly how top tippy that your volume leaders did. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I love it when they hit it right there at the high.
Does Burke
Um,
trade really thin? I'm kind of surprised.
It does. That's what it surprised me. So I actually was watching it in Bookmap too, and for the first 5 minutes, oh my gosh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. I
look at
remember
that,
looking at
dude.
this. I saw this vertical move, and I thought, holy shit, this is an obvious sell. It's overbought.
Yeah.
This print is right here at the tippy top. We might get overshoot. Sometimes it happens, but this thing is not a buy.
I mean, it almost looks like you got the overshoot right there, and then they used it to just drop another fucking X amount of share. You think that's a buy? The second
This
block
one
in the
here?
middle?
Oh, this was a sell. Yeah, and then
That's
this
a
was
sell.
overshoot. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, because this here came. This was a really sharp rally. They sold, and then it took the overshoot, and then they put more out here, which is surprising. So this was not even a ranked trade. This was, I mean, it was a good sized trade,
Yeah.
but the big one was up here at the top. So,
I mean,
yeah,
that's
just
just
like they were lightening up as they went up, and then finally just dumped the whole fucking thing right there.
maybe like if you only traded thinner stocks, like maybe it works like a lot more.
Yeah, it's. I think that's true. So the downside of doing that is the spreads are wide on
That's,
options.
that's
But if you trade
yeah.
shares,
You trade shares.
then that's less of an issue. But then you have to contend with um, sorting with shares and maybe needing to hold overnight. And who knows if they jam it? We've seen them
For sure. And
do it. I don't.
it's a smaller market cap company, most likely. I mean, not in Berkshire,
Yeah.
but in most cases. So you could get some crazy news and
Yeah, if it's a biotech, I don't want to fool with it overnight. But it's what I like about that is if you can get a decent spread, if you can get in, then it's going to fall quickly. And the reason for that is because it's thin, and because once they pull the bid, there aren't as many people trading it because it's thin. So there are fewer people up there churning it up at the high.
Dude, you are a Bears bear. I feel like we've been talking fucking 2 hours. I don't think you've had one long idea. It's all
Well, you're right, but I mean, part of that is an artifact of the market that we're in.
market. Yeah,
I'm not
of
going to
course.
try and take longs, get my my head
Yeah.
cut off.
No,
But
I
it
feel
is
you.
easier, like for me, and obviously I'm relying on the tool very heavily. The larger prints tend to appear at highs. It's easier to detect distribution than accumulation. So when I see a really large print, they tend to come at highs, and if that's the trade that's in front of me, that's the one I'm going to take.
Dude, yeah.
But it is,
Like-
I kind of like the fast nature of the declines. Once the decline gets going, it moves faster, and it lends itself to my strategy, which is to stay in it for a day or 2 days or something, and not much more than that. Whereas, if I were to get long somewhere, I might imagine I got long down here.
Oh,
Right at this
100%.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh god, here we go, and the whole month passes. It's only moved $2 or $4. I'd be irritated.
Yeah,
Um,
it is perfect for you because the short moves are so quick and
yeah,
volatile. But
yeah.
yeah,
So so anyway, yeah. So I did. So I mean, the tool found it. I've never traded this thing before. I don't know anything about this. I mean, I know who they are, obviously, but I don't have a feel for the stock, but I don't need to. I knew
yeah,
it
you
was
shorted
potential liver.
the 20 best companies in the world probably.
Yeah,
All in
maybe
one.
that.
That's the big dogs like leader, dude.
Yeah, and well, and I think it topped at 317. I got in it in the high 315s, and I got out like in the 311, 310 zone, somewhere like that. And I held it for four or
Yeah,
5 hours, and um, I don't know. I made a few $100 off it maybe, but that was it. And I was happy. I was in and out, very little risk, short time frames, and I had this going. I had three or four other ones going too, and these things add up for me. I like the small wins. I'm not trying to hit home runs here. It's not my
for
style.
sure. Yeah.
So, how about you? Did you have any good bangers this week? Did you catch anything?
So my basically, I'll just run you through what I got. I've got a short on Nvidia
Yep.
at 237.
Don't we all?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When I first took my position like 2 weeks ago, I tweeted like, this is gonna take a while because there's
Yeah.
so many fucking shorts, and it's like everybody knows that it's overvalued, and everyone like is acting like the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
Like, and I am too. Look at me, I'm shorting it. Like I can't help myself. I just like I want to be shorted, so it's more of a long short. I plan on holding
Yeah.
this obviously for months. So that's my biggest position that I've been adding to like all week.
Hmm.
I added one at like 241.15, which I was happy with. But
Yeah.
so I'm sitting on that at 237. I've been adding to ASPS, which is like it's a foreclosure company. So that's
Okay.
kind of like that's also like another long short sort of. Like
Right.
I mean I'm long it and it's equity long, but it's not very correlated to like the market per
Hmm.
se. I would say it's probably negatively correlated, but kind of. We'll see. And then I
Okay.
have a shit ton of BABA that I bought. Uh,
Oh,
I had calls um,
let's
which I
pull up Baba.
executed, and I bought shares. And then today I bought $85 calls for March 31st, and I bought $200 calls for January 19th.
Oh, leaps, huh?
And yeah, I bought some leaps just so if I do want to sell, like when we get a rip, I don't feel bad about like my upside. Like
Right.
the upside's rocking, it's there. And I got some March 24th
It's an
90s.
emotional hedge.
Yeah, it's an emotional hedge because I know I'm gonna want to take some off, but I'm gonna be sick if we just double.
So Baba here, we got two big ones.
When was that
March
today?
2nd, no, March 2nd and 3rd. Let me shorten this time frame here.
I didn't see anything today, unfortunately.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Yeah, I would have thought that with FXI printing, you would maybe expect to see Baba and KWeb. And while that's loading, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to the ninth, and I'm going to put in the China stuff. FXI, KWeb, Baba. Let's see if anything came up today. All right, so here's Baba. Okay, you had some stuff here. These are the two big ones. Oh, and it's broken down. Look at that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we got this is not right. This is kind of
kind of small.
smallish, yeah, for a small side of a large trade. It is oversold. FXI KWeb came in, but yeah, KWeb and Baba weren't ranked yet. So this suggests to me it's not quite ready yet. It's probably a short cover, and we haven't seen enough size yet. But maybe more will come. We'll have to see.
Yeah, yeah,
Certainly got to deal with this resistance now up here in the 90 zone once it starts moving again. Yeah. Interesting.
see what they do with it.
And then here's NVIDIA,
See,
which we talked about.
dude, I mean, how many fucking prints do I need to see on this thing? I'm
It's this is always
disgusted.
the tough thing. You see a print, you say, okay, they sold, and you expect price to resolve immediately, or vice versa at a low. And you just never know how much they have to sell. It's really difficult. Sometimes
Well, the thing is, like, I saw like that Nvidia and Tesla are the two like retail's favorites in terms of dollar amount bought.
uh,
So they probably are just really just clearing. They're clearing it out here. I mean, look at
Yeah,
this. This looks like
this is huge distribution up here.
yeah, this looks like distribution, and then at some point they're going to drop some bearish news, and it's going. I'm surprised the dilution didn't do it. I couldn't believe that.
I was surprised too, and that got us down to here. I couldn't believe
Yeah,
it recovered, and that told me that they had more. There was more inventory to unload. The institutions had so fucking much Nvidia, they had to take it back up here so they could dump some more.
that was shocking.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too. But this is a good example of a stock that's really thick, really liquid. Everybody wants it. Everybody knows it. Everybody likes it. It's part of every index. It anchors everything, every ETF. SPY, QQQ, all the random weird ones that I sometimes talk about. Uh, everything, Nvidia's and everything. SMH,
It's like the
obviously.
ninth biggest company in the world or something. Something
Yeah.
ridiculous.
So, if this is the top,
Yeah.
you would expect it to take a long, long time to deal with. And imagine if, and I'm sure I did this. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember now, but I've been in and out of Nvidia about 30 times in the last few weeks. But doing my thing where I stay in for a few hours and I get the hell out. I'm sure I traded this print here. I'm sure I saw this spike. I saw this print, and I'm sure I took a short the next morning. And I probably got
Yeah.
a little bit. I got out and it bounced again. And I remember this move here, and I was like, oh, that's it. And then it wasn't it. And this was like a top 20 print. This was 14th. Then I remember you and I talked about this, and you said, there's no fucking way that's a
Yeah.
buy. There's just no way that's a sell, even though it came at the low of the day. And I thought, yeah, that's fair. And then it got down here, and I thought, that's it. It's going to collapse. And it didn't collapse. Couldn't believe it.
I think like
But
maybe in this case for your site, like if it's a really thin stock, like if you can find options that
if the spreads are good.
that the spread is not too bad, like you take it, and then for like I feel like for Nvidia, this is like a no brainer. Like you short shares because the timeline could be
Yes,
like
that's right. I like
forever.
that too. Yeah. And I played a lot with NVDS as well too, which gives me time when
NVDS.
things go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the 1.25 inverse ETF, which is relatively new. And actually, I remember that printed a number one trade, which wasn't even that large because it's such
a new stock. Yeah.
yeah, such a new stock, but it printed a number one, and that's what kind of got my attention that Nvidia is likely ready to be shorted.
Dude, when they make an
I'm
ETF, that shit always marks the top or a bottom.
I know.
Like, dude, semis in general are just so stubborn. Like, I was in Stockfest like 2 weeks ago, and it went to 23,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember selling like all because I just had like a way oversized position,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, I just want to get the fuck out. Like, you never know what's gonna happen. I would have bet like if you were to ask me like, what do you think's gonna happen in the next 2 weeks? I would have been like, this thing's gonna be at like 40,
Yeah.
and it's at like 21,
Yeah.
and it's just chugging
Been
along.
oscillating.
That's why shorting is just so tough. Like, I try
tough.
not to because you really have the timing is just has to be like shorting with puts. Like you just have to be like you have to be a ninja, dude. Like you gotta
There you go.
and by the time you're catching the move, you've already been out because you're scared that it's gonna rip back up.
Yeah.
Like,
I
catch
know,
the
and
big
that's
move.
the other thing. I've learned this lesson. Anybody who's shorted regularly has learned this lesson that if you are lucky enough to get one right, don't try and ride it all the way. You're not gonna get that huge home run move that we all want. You're gonna get some kind of a
Chop.
move, and then it's gonna chop
Yeah.
back up, and then you're gonna get another move, and it's gonna retrace back up, then you're gonna get another move, and then there's gonna be a stupid rally of some sort. If you just
That was my strategy. Like I had a ton of calls, or puts, and the first sell off hit like 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, I'm selling my puts here, but I'm
Yeah.
only going to get into short shares now because I
Yeah.
just didn't want to get chopped to death. And look at this. It's been a chop.
Yeah, well, you were smart. You know?
Yeah, but that's what I do for like pretty much everything now. It's like
Yeah.
I buy calls, hit the original move, calls or puts, hit the
Yeah.
move, and then just shares because
Yeah.
it's like they grind you down. They'll
They
grind you
do.
down.
I mean, imagine that you would have bought puts here on February 23rd or 24th. And say you went a month out and you gave yourself, so you think, all right, I'll give myself till March OPEX. That's enough time, right? And look
Yeah.
at this. They'd be
March
worth
9th.
by now.
Dude, you had dilution news, you had bad earnings, you had
Yeah.
you had every catalyst that should have sent this thing,
I
and
know
this is what they
It
do.
didn't matter. Didn't matter because they're
The
still
earnings move
distributing.
was sick. The earnings move was nasty.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
look at
was
this
like
right here.
that was the that if
It was like 25%. No, sorry, this was 10, 15%. Is that
yeah,
right? Yeah,
that was the
that was
whole market overshoot right there. Was everybody
yeah.
earning? Like all the prints came in, and then the market overshot. And now they're unloading everything.
Yeah. Here's what's also interesting is like there's no volume here, which you wouldn't expect because this came after hours. It shot straight up, and then the next morning here it is. So they didn't buy that much inventory to get it up to this point, but they've been spending all this time selling. So they must have had a ton of inventory down here that they needed to distribute higher because they weren't buying up here. They were buying lower, which
I
tells me
sold
that it didn't
all my
matter what
puts,
earnings said. They were going to take this up anyway. This is, I
of
think,
course.
orchestrated.
I had to get rid of all my puts on that day, and I was kind of upset because I was like, man, the move's happening, but like Nvidia, I just can see, you can just feel some sick shit, and they did it.
Yeah.
They'll always do it,
Never
but
ceases to amaze me how they could do it, how they could keep this thing so overbought for so long, so high, so much inventory is being unloaded, and they keep price up here until it's all gone. And you never know. This could go on forever. This could take weeks.
yeah,
You just
I mean
don't
that
know.
that AI the AI pump is something else. They really pulled a rabbit out of a hat for that one.
Let me show you another one that I did here. Same thing. I posted this one as well. I did this yesterday or today. I can't. They're all starting to blend now. There've been
Oh,
so many good
I saw,
opportunities lately. PNW.
dude. This one was a banger.
Yeah, so I still think there's a lot of meat left on this bone too. But so they had earnings on somewhere around the 22nd or I think it was the 27th. I can't remember the exact day. And God, what's going on? For some reason, everything's fucking slow here. I'm gonna have to edit this out. I'm gonna close some stuff.
Do you trade with any macro, or do you go
I
you
mean,
just go raw
like
into print?
kind of just what I talked about before. Like I have a general feeling about where I think the market is going,
Yeah,
but I don't, you know, I don't think about AI or semis and form some narrative in my head and decide things are going to go up or down. That's not really my
yeah.
thing. Um, why am I unable to find this one? Maybe this is maybe this is. Let me just do the whole month of February. PanW, I think, took 2 or 3 weeks. It was distributing up in the same zone, and then we got the number 20 print. Yeah. So okay. So February, I don't know, got up here on the 23rd, and today is the 9th of March. So there was a whole bunch of prints up here. I'm only showing the top three, but this one here was number 20. This 1 million share print, and this is the one that told me, okay, it's time to dance, time to go. And I waited for the next morning because this came after hours. Obviously, oh no, it didn't come after hours. It came in the middle of the day. Ooh, I can't remember now if I traded this before the end of the day or not. But anyway, once it came, I went, I did my research. I saw that it was in this, what appears to me to be a distribution pattern. You got all its volume up here. You had this big earnings announcement. I saw a friend of mine sent me some stuff about how insiders had been selling. So there's all these big insider trades that came along with the big prints. It couldn't have been any more obvious to me what was happening. So
Yeah.
I just didn't know, like, is this pattern going to continue for another month? There's no way to know, but it checked all the boxes. So I got some puts. They were, I think, April 21st, so a month and a half, which I hoped and assumed would be enough time to get some kind of a move. And then it is thin, and sure as shit, it dropped today. So we got 2.5% today. I wrote it for, I don't know, $3, something like that, $4. I can't remember. And then I got out.
So
I was out by 3 o'clock and on to the next thing. It's nice.
you watch any like TV when you trade? Do you have
No,
anything
I'm
going?
usually working during the day, and then I've got I got meetings and stuff, and
Yeah.
client work and everything, and then I've kind of got this going on the side. So
Do you code?
don't watch the shows, huh?
Do you code when you work?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Nice.
It's either volume leader stuff or day job stuff or whatever. It is getting harder and harder to think and focus and concentrate on complicated problems when I've got three screens, four screens going, and there's charts everywhere and stuff's moving. And I'm trying to manage positions, and my time frames are minuscule. So if I see a move, I bounce on it right away. Make a decision instead of trailing stop on it or something. Decide what I'm gonna do. But yeah,
that's funny. You must just be exhausted. Dude, you must go to bed just fucking like you've been through war or something.
sometimes, yeah. I mean, I'm at my desk eight or 8:30 every morning,
Yeah.
and I'm working all day and the trading, and of course, and then the evenings come around and I'm doing volume leader stuff, and I go to bed at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, as you know, because you're always texting me about some fucking China trade or whatever you got. Nat gas futures in the middle of the night.
Bro, I love my late night trades, bro. Nothing like watching futures go to bed. Like, and when it's moving your, when you know what the sick part is, like when it's going against you, you're like, oh, maybe the reverse, like at like 2 a.m. And then like when it's going for you, you're like, oh, it's never gonna stick.
Yeah, the psychology of trading is so complicated.
I had a horrible beat last week with Baba. I had calls that I bought.
Okay. Right.
And it was the day before I bought them at 3 o'clock. The next day it gapped up 5%.
Oh, that day, that was nice.
But I was up like 300%, but they wouldn't price my options for the first 5 minutes. And it wasn't just on my brokerage. It was on everyone's brokerage because my friend was also in them. So it dropped Baba dropped like 2% from after like 5 minutes during the open. So I was like, you know what? I'll just hold these. I'll see what happens. And dude, of course, it just bleeds, and I didn't
pull that Baba chart up again.
Dude, it was disgusting. Yeah, pull that up. Oh my god.
There it is.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right there.
Well, this would have been. I got to go a little further back so we can find that. We'll go to February, but yeah, I remember that day. Was it this?
Yeah, it was right there, bro. It was right there, and I was like, you know what? This is the reversal. I'll just hold it. Like it's only 2 days. I'll hold till Friday, and then boom.
Look at that. That sucks, man. Oh, that's frustrating. And if everything's working fine with your broker, you're out. Which makes you wonder. Yeah. Unless you get greedy and like, oh, look at this thing's really gonna go.
Yeah, that made me. That's why I was like, you know what? Maybe market makers they're caught up. Something's going on. This is gonna rocket. Like I might as well hold it. Like they're clearly trying to get their eggs their shit in order. Like
right.
And then it just dumps.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Got wiped. But this is what it is.
What are you gonna do?
Just a greedy guy, I just kind of like being greedy.
Yeah, for all that money you made on that gas, right? That wasn't enough for you?
It was not. I actually did better on Success, and it was a lot quicker, bro. Nat gas was just fucking painful.
Yeah, gas is always painful.
I didn't feel good about making money on that. I was just like, man, I don't think like I've been buying since like 2.7 or 2.6 or something. Yeah. It was at 1.9. That was wild.
I've lost track of how many times. Kind of like Nvidia. I haven't touched gas as much in the last few days because it's been kind of quiet, but for like, I don't know, a span of 3 or 4 weeks in February, it was a constant managing of positions because the prints were huge and the moves were nuts, and it was just,
dude, it was so bad. Like I was using my shares, my Boyle shares as like a bank. And like when Boyle would go down enough, I would buy Boyle calls because I was like, okay, well I've written it down 20%. That's not that bad. Like let me grab some calls for the upside. And it worked. It honestly worked over the long run, but it was not like I did not feel good by the end of the trade, bro. I didn't sleep much, man. I was doing research on Europe and fucking dude. I remember like my girlfriend came home and I had the weather report.
You sent me these things.
Yeah, I sent you it. Almost as bad as your fucking heat mat.
Yeah. You sent me that video of that mountain in New Hampshire. You're like, dude, it's like 100 below in New Hampshire and the gas is fucking going to the moon. It's happening. It still went low over the next 3 days.
I know, dude. That was crazy. That was hilarious. Maybe we should do like what's your game plan for tomorrow or like this week?
Okay.
And then I'll probably do like more. I'll probably do like my macro trades. Because that's how I roll. So you could do like a short term and I'll do like a long term, and then we could we could say like we'll meet up again in like a month or 2 months and see what's
See
going
where we
on.
are. Okay, so my thoughts. I'm going to take that IBM. I'm probably going to take that IBM trade on the long side. It's a bit out of character for me as the consummate bear, but I
Yeah,
don't
dude.
see any
Holy
good.
shit.
Yeah, I don't see any good bear trades tomorrow. But it
No good
Friday,
bear trades tomorrow.
not no, because everything's sold so far today. I'm expecting some kind of a bounce on pretty much everything, and it's also
Okay.
Friday, and you know how Fridays go. So I'm I don't know what the open. Maybe something will pop up at the open that'll look attractive. I don't know. Or maybe we'll get some late prints that come in early in the morning. But at this point, um, I still am expecting things to resolve lower for the most part, indexes, but I don't think they'll take a direct move tomorrow. I think we get a bounce on Friday. Everybody has a good weekend, and then we deal with this on Monday. And I think next week's going to be
Mm.
kind of ugly. Going into OPEX, I think there's potential for a pretty strong sell. And I think that because they love to top and bottom around important dates like OPEX and end of the month, that whatever the low is that they want for this leg will probably get hit before Friday of next week. That's my hunch. Now, I don't know what level they're looking at. I don't know if it's in the 38.50s. I don't know if they want 37.50. Some people think it's going even lower. I don't know. But that's kind of my view is that somewhere around OPEX, they'll put in some kind of a temporary bottom. I don't know how long that might last, but we'll see. So I'm going to take the IBM trade, I think, and I don't know how I'm going to trade it yet, but I'm probably going to be, assuming the spreads are okay, it'll probably be April calls at the money or near the money. Usually what I go for. And that's the only thing. And I've got some other positions I'm managing right now that I'm going to be dealing with. Couple put positions. I'm actually long a couple of things too. So we'll see how that goes. And then I'm going to be on the lookout for nat gas prints Friday afternoon.
Mm.
And I kind of want to see some prints in metals too on Friday. I think it would kind of make sense to see something in silver and maybe gold and maybe even oil. Just for a bounce of some sort. I don't know. We'll
Mm.
see. What about you?
Um, I'm like I'm pretty. I feel like I'm bullish in the like next 2 months in terms of like I think we're gonna rotate, but I'm pretty bearish going into tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You think
I
it
think there's
continues down, huh?
I think there's a really good chance that we're gonna get a continuation lower because I feel like
Uh,
this is the kind of the game plan they've been doing. They've been dumping it and then like ripping it up, and
hmm
I feel like they might follow through on Friday to like max scare people. And I think next
Yeah.
week is gonna just be a little bit. It's gonna be chop and maybe a little bit more bullish. Maybe you start to see like rotations start to happen under the surface. But I think there's a small chance that tomorrow could be a bloodbath. But I'm not gonna like
Wow.
I'm not really the only position I am for it is that I'm short Nvidia like a fuck ton. So
Yeah.
I'd be happy with it. And if we bounce I have my Baba, so hopefully that runs, but that hasn't been correlated to shit all week. That's just
Yeah.
been going down.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of bracing for a really red day tomorrow. But
Okay.
I think a lot of people would say that, to be honest. So it could completely like be wrong.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I didn't see I didn't see tons of prints come in today, and usually the absence of large prints suggests continuation in the direction of the trend. So trend is lower. And
I think we're just due for a big like volume event, really. Like
yeah,
we haven't had like a real scare in a while. And I also think like the market's kind of sending a message to Powell, like you
yeah,
like it was crazy at like 2 o'clock today. The expectations for March was 50 basis points. It was like 70%. And by
yeah.
4 o'clock, it was 50%, which is
That's interesting.
which is just insane. Which is why I think the dollar didn't go green because I think that the market is going to start to price in less hikes and potentially a pause. But the thing is, like, I don't think a pause is bullish. I think a pause is just
Not historically, so they say.
yeah.
This isn't
I
my area of expertise, but yeah.
I just don't think like if we pause at 5% for a year or 2 years, like that's not good for growth. That's not good for
Yeah.
anything. So I think like the narrative has been like, oh, we're gonna pause or we're gonna pivot. But like even if we pivoted and we cut like 25 basis points over a year, that's still not really like very good for growth
Yeah.
stocks.
No, it's not. This goes to why I don't see anything that has been leading the charge for the last 10 or 12 years to be continuing that lead.
Oh,
Um,
definitely not. Definitely not. I mean,
and I
it's gonna
think
be
they're
new
going to,
leaders.
and I also think, this is something I learned recently, actually, that the ETFs like SPY and QQQ, the main index ETFs, they get, an opportunity to rebalance, once a quarter. Um, unless there's some compelling reason why, like a company goes out of business or something, they got to take them out. But I think the weightings can get changed for whatever reason they're scheduled once a quarter. I think that it would be an opportunity for them to reconsider having Apple and Nvidia and all the other ones so highly weighted and shift the weight to something else so that
Mm,
the indexes don't suffer as much. They can buy up who knows what it is. Say it's IBM, say it doesn't matter. I don't care. Some other non mega cap growth stock, FANG stock that's been sort of leading the way. So maybe they'll
for sure.
identify some other things that they want to be anchoring these indexes, and that will keep the indexes
Yeah, for
from
sure.
collapsing with Apple and Microsoft if those guys happen to fall.
I think yeah, it'll be like defense and biotech something. It'll
Yeah,
be something.
yeah. Who knows? I don't know. Healthcare, something.
Maybe they'll
Um,
fucking throw gold in there. Who knows? You know, get a miner going, dude. Dude, they gotta get
yeah,
rocked up. They gotta give those guys like a little relief. Like
give them some love for change.
this isn't right, dude. Like
Yeah,
they got like 5 minutes in 2020 where it went crazy. Like I was at Goldberg earlier this year for a little bit, and it
yeah.
dude, I felt like I was part of the army. Like I was riding with them. Like I felt them eight like 8:30 every morning, 9 o'clock every morning when they slam it down. I'm like, ah, like you can't keep getting away with this. Those poor dudes, man. But
That's
shit,
funny.
it's fun to be a gold bug and to be like, yo, like fuck the dollar. Like
Yeah.
it feels good. It feels good. It's almost like being a Bitcoin maxi, but that's a whole different ball game. Bitcoin
Yeah.
is rust. You see that?
Oh, I see it's hovering just above 20K right now. I didn't notice that earlier.
Oh, it dropped. It was at like 19 earlier.
I remember the other day, maybe it was a week ago, it dropped $1,000 in like 10 seconds. Uh, one day after hours.
I mean,
That
this
was
this
fun.
Silvergate shit. I mean, this can't be. I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend to be like, oh, like
You're not going to be a Silvergate expert like everyone else on Twitter here,
yeah, dude. Everyone's an expert on
or
fucking everything.
everyone's going to be an
Now
expert
you're
on
gonna
regional banks now because
yeah,
of
you're
what
gonna see
happened
all the
today.
regional bank experts come out, dude.
It's a breath of fresh air when people stand up and say, "I don't know, man. It's the first time I've ever even heard of KRE." I
Yeah,
try to keep up.
yeah.
I
Actually, though,
I know it exists because I watched the data come in. I've never traded it, and I didn't appreciate the significance of it until it became a hot topic today and yesterday. Yeah,
I am glad that Silicon Valley blew up. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
Like, I feel like those guys kind of deserved it a little bit. Um, like low key. Like, dude, they're reckless. They're reckless, and like a lot of it is it's not even about your idea. It's just about like the connections you know and like the
Right.
funding. It's just like it's all about getting funding and raising the most money, and it doesn't become about the product anymore. I feel like if anyone deserved what they just got there, it was them. I feel bad for the retail investors that were in it.
Well, I
But
don't feel too bad because they've been printing money for 15 years, and all the people that bought Facebook back when it was $20, they're doing
yeah,
okay, even though it's not doing as well as it was a year or two ago. They're fine. I don't feel so
yeah,
bad with their 10x return. Yeah.
actually, I don't know. It's not up that much from IPO.
IPO at 40, right? What is it now?
Meta. I feel like
Yeah, it was
I
like
thought
180, I thought, right?
it might be now.
No.
Yeah, I think I was looking at the lows and I was like, damn, this is kind of
Yeah,
close to the IPO.
181. Yeah, well, when it got to the lows, it got down to, oh,
It's down to
excuse
like
me,
90, right?
90, yeah,
Yeah,
88. Yeah, so it was still double off the IPO.
like a double up, but that's not that much.
Yeah, I remember the IPO, and I remember this is off topic, but I
You
remember the
short
day they
it?
IPO'd. No, I didn't touch it. I remember it came out at 40 and it went straight down to 10, like right away. And there was all these people that were so excited to buy Facebook stock. They bought the IPO and they were all on TV on the news saying, "Oh no, I'm going to do it. I put my life savings in Facebook and it was supposed to be a sure thing. And now I lost 75% of my wealth." And, I felt bad
So
for
sick.
them. They
Yeah.
hopefully they stuck around and did okay. It wasn't long before it was
I feel
back
like
to them.
all those mega caps, like they set like the bar for the rest of these like piece of shit unprofitable tech stocks that have now IPO'd.
Yeah.
And so everyone was like, "Oh, I'm gonna catch the next one." And now you just look at the charts, and it's like there hasn't been any. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
you have
Well,
the four
I think
horsemen leaders.
I think it was a product of monetary policy mostly. And
Think
without
so?
that, I mean, there will be outliers, but I don't think that Meta goes from $38 to $378 in less than 10 years if you don't have zero interest rate policy, quantitative easing, uh, just constant money getting pumped into the system. I think it finds its way to stocks like Facebook. I don't think a lot of these stocks ever had a real true valuation. It was all just a product of the Fed's
Yeah,
policy
but you could say that about like
about anything, probably.
yeah, that's just like
Yeah.
valuations in general. It's
Yeah.
just a product of
Yeah. I mean, I still think Apple's going to be the best company in the world, but I don't know that they're going to be the best company at their current price. It might be much lower if you don't have all that stimulus going. So
yeah.
everything would have been kind of
Apple's
muted.
interesting because they buy back so much stock. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I mean potentially like the cash will run out, but if the sales go down enough, they'll have to stop buying back. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
that thing is really just a device made by like a genius
Yeah.
in terms of like it's just like look at it, it's at 150. The high
Yeah.
was what 170. Like this thing's
Well,
not even off its high.
and it's split once or twice. I mean, it's really like in the 800 range if you don't count the splits.
Yeah,
Let me see.
it's just
Hmm.
unbelievable that it's held up like this.
Yeah.
And
Did it get up to 300?
I don't see like I
Like
guess
the whole, yeah. So the high was around 180. It's now at 150. So it's
they're not
20%.
losing dominance or anything. They're still
No.
selling like the same market share
Yeah.
of phones. It's really just an incredible company. I feel like it's just kind of everything
Yeah.
you'd want.
Yeah. They do a good job. I still hate the one button mouse though. I can't get over that.
Yeah, I don't like that either. I can't use it.
Yeah. All right. Shall we wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Okay. Well,
Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
that was a good chat. Well, we'll see what happens tomorrow and next week. Let's do this again in a few weeks and review our results. See what's changed.
Yeah. So you're telling your followers to get as long as they can tomorrow, and then
No, no. Edit that out. I'm not
yeah,
telling anybody to get along just about anything. That's for sure. Not yet. I don't.
we'll
Well,
see.
I don't want to tell people to do anything. I'll tell them what I'm going to do and why, and they can decide for themselves. But yeah, I don't think the data is supportive of anything other than shorting rips.
Okay.
Um, I
I
think
would
that will
say
change at some point. I don't know when. And maybe emerging markets or certain sectors are exempt from that. But I think generally speaking, that's what I'm
that's
expecting.
that's where I'm at. I'm looking the dollar. If you see the dollar down,
Uh-huh.
get in emerging markets. If the dollar is dropping, get in.
Okay.
If we get a confirmed
Well, I'm going to
breakdown,
look at it more closely because I haven't quite seen the prints I want, but I think the levels are of interest. So I want to take a closer look at that.
yep.
I'd be so frustrated if I waited, 7 or 8 years for this fucking
And you didn't get in it.
EM thing to line up properly, and then I'm too scared to pull the trigger.
I'm probably most likely a little bit early, but
Yeah.
like I've been yeah. I'm feeling good about it. I feel like that's my number one play right now. Clearly, that and like
Okay.
the video sure, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. There's
Yeah.
definitely going to be some good setups. I feel like this market it breeds uncertainty, and that's
Yeah.
like the best time to be a trader. Like
It is a trader's market.
in
The
a certain
volatility is
market. It's amazing.
range creates opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one knows how to price anything right now. It's making
No.
for insane movement. So
Yeah.
it feels irrational. And so, I don't know. Just
I don't know.
have your thesis, stick with it, and
Well,
subscribe to volume leaders.
yeah. Subscribe, like, and subscribe.